Hey guys, welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about South Carolina Senator Tim Scott and how he has just announced that that he has formed an exploratory committee for a 2024 presidential campaign. So this, it's just coming out of this morning. He did announce this he released a video. It looked exactly like a typical presidential campaign announcement video. He was in South Carolina talking about the quote unquote radical left, all the typical stuff. And it's not like he's speculating. He will be running for president. This has been a theory for quite a while now. There were reports right when Nikki Haley announced that Tim Scott would also be running. And this is exactly what is happening. Tim Scott announcing an exploratory committee for president. And especially for, big names like Tim Scott, like senators, governors, whatever, when they announce that they're creating an exploratory committee for president, that like 99% of the time means that they are going to be running for president. We sometimes see them announce an exploratory committee, and then we sometimes see them just, straight up announce that they're running. Nikki Haley just announced that she was running. She did not create an exploratory committee. But if we look like Kirsten Gillibrand, a random example, I know that she did announce an exploratory committee in 2020 when she ran, before she just announced her candidacy. So, this is basically like announcing that he will run, and then I'm sure he will officially make a formal announcement with a speech in South Carolina. But here he is. We have like 4 major declared candidates currently. Haley, Hutchinson, Ramaswamy, and Trump, and then Scott will be up there very, very soon. But it must be talked about a lot, and maybe this deserves its own video later on, but we have to talk about the fact that we have 2 South Carolinians, Tim Scott and Nikki Haley, both in this presidential race. And this shakes up things a lot, because before there was speculation that he would run, or reports that he was going to run, I should say, because there has been speculation for a while. But before there were reports that he was going to run, I did not have Tim Scott running. And I thought that Nikki Haley would have a real good shot at winning that South Carolina primary, that so important South Carolina primary. It's the 3rd or 4th primary in the Republican primary. Nevada and South Carolina are held on the same day, so basically like the 3rd. It's so important, the South Carolina primary, and I thought Haley had a shot. At one time I did have her winning, but I thought that she would win at least 2nd, and if she wins 2nd and comes really close, that's a great showing. Maybe she could win a couple states coming into Super Tuesday. But really, I feel that Nikki Haley and Tim Scott will appeal to that same block of voters in the South Carolina primary, and that it will ultimately result in neither of them winning. Tim Scott getting in the race virtually guarantees that Nikki Haley also himself does not become president of the United States, okay? The only shot that Nikki Haley has is winning that South Carolina primary. But if we're looking at the candidates in the South Carolina primary, we're looking at Trump, who won it in 2016 with a plurality of votes. He won it, and he has that base. He has that base that he will always win in the primary, that people will always vote for. And then we have a more traditional conservative base, which, who want to move on from, there's of course the anti-Trump vote who could go, time will tell. But we do have that more traditional conservative vote, or that more moderate Republican vote, that a vote that wants to move on from Trump. This is the big part here. There's a large portion of the party who wouldn't mind Trump again, but they don't think he could win. After the midterms, they want a Republican who can win, and they don't think that Trump can win in a general, so they are supporting people like Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, and that is the base that Tim Scott and Nikki Haley will win. I mean, Nikki Haley is basing much of her campaign around the fact that Republicans have not won the popular vote since 2004, and that she will do that once again. And Tim Scott, again, as I said, like 3 times, they will have that same base, and ultimately, I believe it will split between them, especially if Ron DeSantis gets in the race. Then that really shakes things up even more, because Donald Trump still has his critical base, even if it's a third of the vote, only a third of the vote. If Trump wins that third of the vote, the rest will be split between Haley, Scott, and DeSantis. So, maybe, of course, there is so much time until then. Maybe Tim Scott and Nikki Haley are already out of the race and have endorsed Ron DeSantis by that time. But if the South Carolina primary is looking like Scott versus Haley versus DeSantis on one side, and then we have Trump on that other side, Trump is guaranteed a win in South Carolina. And importantly, South Carolina is, in my opinion, the key to a win. Probably for all candidates besides Donald Trump, probably for Tim Scott, probably for Nikki Haley, probably for Ron DeSantis. I feel that if DeSantis is able to carry South Carolina, then he can win the nomination. Without it, he can't. And with Scott and Haley in the race, it's looking like none of them are, and that Trump will win. So I just want to share that Tim Scott is running for president. Obviously, this shakes things up, but just wanted to share that with you. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would help a lot. And I will see you all next time. Thanks again.